Hey, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Let me know in the comments you can see me and hear me okay, and make sure you introduce yourself in the comments. I will get this thing started in a couple of minutes. I'll just give a couple of minutes for you good folks to start tuning in, and I'm going to check if the notification has gone out. Looks like it has, and looks like we're all good. We're all in business. All right, folks, so make sure you introduce yourself in the comments and let everyone know who you are. Great networking opportunity. I will always say that you got to take advantages of these live streams, folks. It's also for my intention is to share information for all of you who are job seekers, actively on the market or passively on the market. But at your end, I mean, see it as a networking opportunity as well, right? A lot of you folks are tuning in. Feel free to connect with each other, so no one else is going to know who you are if you're not commenting, right? So make sure you comment, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from. If you're actively on the market for new job opportunities, make sure you introduce yourself and let us know what kind of opportunities you're looking for. You never know, you might be able to connect with some great people on here, right? So again, introduce yourself in the comments, folks. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, hey, welcome to my live stream, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Dean Kulaweera. So every week, Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I go live and I talk about various job search topics, right? Everything from the application stuff, resumes, applying for jobs, interviews, negotiation tactics, dealing with recruiters, all these things. And I come from a background of working in recruitment for about 8+ years. I worked at small agencies. I've started and run my own agency early on in my career. I worked at large, well-known multinational agencies as well. So my perspective is based on all of that experience. So welcome to those of you tuning in, and shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, and I forgot to go live on Instagram. So let me go live on Instagram real quick as well. I don't know what's happening with Instagram lately. All right, let me just give me a few seconds, folks. I want to make sure, because this didn't work last week on Instagram, and I was not able to go live. I just want to make sure that I'm able to go live on Instagram as well. But in the meantime, make sure you introduce yourself in the comments, folks. I'm going to get this thing started shortly, all right? But appreciate your patience. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening here with Instagram. All right, looks like that's good. I'm not sure if I'm live even, but anyway, in any case, I'll figure that out later. But thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. So we got Agenda in the house. Hey, Agenda, nice to see you here, and good to see you tuning in. It was nice chatting with you last week. We got Matthew in the house. Matthew is a business and management consultant, USA, and active for a new home. Awesome. Nice to see you here, Matthew. Agenda says, I have 7 years of experience in project management and actively looking for an opportunity. Awesome. Fantastic. So thanks so much for tuning in, Gender and Matthew. The rest of you, don't be shy. Make sure you introduce yourself in the comments. All right. So before we get started on today's topic, folks, and what I'm going to be talking about again is how to effectively and strategically post about your certification completions on LinkedIn, right? I'm talking about LinkedIn because most of you are posting on LinkedIn. But this could very well apply to any platform that you're going to be posting about this stuff on, right? Could be LinkedIn, could be Facebook. If you're active on YouTube, maybe you're doing a video about your certifications that you completed on your YouTube channel. Maybe on Twitter, right? It could be whatever platform. I'm going to show you how to post about your certification completion, because it is something definitely very, very proud to. It's an accomplishment that you can be proud of, right? And it's an accomplishment that adds a lot of value to your skill set, to your profile, to your professional skill set, and overall the kind of value you can potentially bring to the table to potential employers. Now, most of you are already doing this. You're posting about your certifications. What I wanted to add today is some skills that you can utilize. Not some skills, but a way that you can post about your certifications that's going to further get you more attention, and where you can make use of really showing your value as someone that just completed whatever certification it was, right? We got a few shout outs here. We got Carrie in the house. Hey, Carrie, always good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing great. Thanks for tuning in. We got Adesina. Hey, Adesina, how are you doing? Good to see you here. Hi, Adesina says, good. Hi, Dean. Good to be at your session once again. You're doing an awesome job. Well done. Thanks so much, Adesina. I really appreciate that, and great to see you here as well. So before we get started, folks, just a quick kind of a heads up to those of you. I will be sharing for those of you who have not gotten it, I will be sharing at the end of the session my free sample script of how to run recruiters through your resume. So if you have not gotten that yet, make sure you wait until the end of the session. The session usually goes on for about half an hour or so, and then I open it up to questions and all that stuff. Or if you're not able to stick around, send me a direct message, and I'm happy to share the link with you. All right. But let's get into today's topic, folks. All right. So certifications. How do you post about your certifications in a way that not only shows, I mean, obviously showcases your accomplishment, which is great, but how do you do it in a way that really captures the attention, so that you're not just some just another person posting about some certification that maybe a few people might have done themselves, right? How do you really stand out? How do you stand out amongst the crowd, and how do you really showcase and really demonstrate the value of that certification you just completed? So that's going to be my task in today's session, folks. So make sure you're taking notes. But more importantly, folks, all right, put into action what I'm talking about, all right? Because taking action, execution, that's the important part. That's what I want all of you folks to leave with from my sessions. I don't want this to be just a session where I just pump you up and get you excited and all that stuff, which is great. I'm happy to do that. But I want everyone leaving with practical stuff that you can implement right away. Kerry says, always enjoy your sessions. I appreciate that, Kerry. We got Giomar. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly, my friend. Giomar from Dominican Republic. Wow. Beautiful country. I have not yet had the pleasure of visiting, but thanks so much for tuning in, Giomar. Appreciate having you here all the way from the Dominican Republic. All right. So, folks, let's get into today's session. All right. So posting certification. So you just completed a certification, right? You just completed a certification, whatever it is, right? Maybe it's your PMP. Maybe you did your what's the business analysis one from the IIBA. Maybe you did an AWS certification. Maybe it's a Java certification, whatever the case is. What is the next step? Now, the next step, a lot of you already do this. You go on LinkedIn, you post about it, or you update your profile, and LinkedIn automatically creates a post and kind of puts it on your LinkedIn profile, which is great. Continue doing that, folks. I want you to continue doing that because you're doing this the first step correctly. The first thing you should do after you update your skill set, you take a certification, you upgrade your knowledge, you take a course, whatever it is those steps you're taking. First step should always be, and all of you are already doing this, update your resume, update your LinkedIn profile. You definitely want to do that, right? Now, I'm not sure if other social media platforms allow you to do like update your certifications and stuff like that. But if such a platform exists, I mean, hey, whatever other social media platforms you use, if it allows you to post about that stuff or update your profile regarding that, you want to make sure that's done across the board, right? Now, what a lot of you are doing is you're obviously doing this first step perfectly fine. You're saying, hey, I just completed this certification, and the next step, of course, is you got amazing people in your network that are very supportive of you. They're gonna like your post. They're probably gonna comment on it. They're gonna congratulate on it, which is great. It gets you some visibility. Now, the challenge is, folks, there's going to be a whole bunch of other people potentially, and this could depend on the type of certification you just completed. There could be a whole bunch of other people that have probably completed the same certification or something similar. Now, how do you stand out? How do you stand out? Because I want to make sure that you folks, when you're posting your certifications, yeah, I want you to get that support from your network. Yeah, I want people liking your stuff. I want people to congratulate you, all that stuff. But I want you to really position yourself head and shoulders above other individuals in your space, so that they really see the value. Not only they not only see the fact that you completed the certification, but they also see the value that this has added to your profile and your expertise. That's really what I want you to think about when you complete these certifications and you're looking to post about them. I want you to see this post as a highly strategic post, folks. All right, so this is not just about sharing your accomplishment, which, yeah, absolutely, you should be proud of it. Definitely want to do that. But I want you to think about it, even beyond that point. I want you to think about, hey, how am I going to post about this in such a way that gets the attention of hiring managers, hiring teams? And also, how am I going to post this in such a way that people in my network see value in this, so that even people scrolling through the feed and they've already liked a few of these certification completions, they're still going to scroll to a stop and actually read over your post when they see that you have recently completed the certification. So how you need to do this, folks, is, and this is where you got to make sure you're taking notes, because I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of tips on how to do this. How do you do this in such a way that adds value to your network and gets the attention of hiring teams? So before I get to that, I want to kind of cycle back and go back to something in relation to interviews. And this is in terms of feedback that I have heard from hiring managers and hiring teams, right? So I'm just going to kind of lay the foundation here so you understand why I recommend the posting strategy that I'm going to be recommending shortly. All right. So I'm going to go back. Let's go back to interviews. Right now, working in recruitment in the staffing agency side of things, in the staffing industry, a very common piece of feedback I always get. I've always gotten, many times from hiring managers and hiring teams, folks, in regards to certifications is, hey Dean, we this whole certification thing, we've seen people with completing these certifications, and they got it done. They tell us about these certifications, but the issue is they don't seem to demonstrate this knowledge, like in terms of what they learned, how they can apply it, and all that stuff. So for the most part, Dean, hey, if they have these certifications, that's great, but what we're looking for is practical hands-on experience and knowledge. So that's the the reason I mentioned that, folks, is that's kind of this foundation I want you to work on in regards to why I want you to implement what I'm doing next. Because what I'm trying to say is the major concern that a lot of hiring teams have is in regards to certifications is, yeah, it's great that these individuals are able to complete these certifications, but do they have any practical knowledge to take away from these certifications? Are they able to apply it? Do they actually understand what they were taught? Or were they simply memorizing a whole bunch of stuff and then they responded to all the questions, completely fine and well during the examination and all that stuff, and now suddenly they have the certification? So this is why when you're solely posting only about the fact that you completed a certification, folks, this is why many hiring managers or hiring teams, it might not capture their attention. It might not really, aside from people in your network that are going to support you, they're going to like and they're going to comment and congratulate you and stuff like that, which is great. We want to make sure that when hiring managers are looking over these posts, right, when they're scrolling through their feed, that they see, hey, this is not just someone who's simply completed a certification. This is an individual that actually has a lot to take away from that certification, that has knowledge that they can apply and potentially apply at our organization. So that's the end goal, folks. And the reason why I want you to aim for that as an end goal is based on my experience as a recruiter, getting feedback from hiring managers through so many interview cycles where there's been this skepticism about people completing certifications. All right. So kind of again, to kind of lay the foundation here, there's a lot of skepticism from hiring managers in regards to people completing certifications, because at the end of the day, many hiring managers have experienced people completing certifications and those individuals not being able to articulate what they've learned, how they can apply it, and basically the practical value of that certification. Right. So that's the foundation we're working with. Right now, moving on to what I'm talking about today in terms of posting your completion of the certification. What I'm trying to say, folks, is simply posting about you completing a certification is not going to be sufficient. It is not sufficient, folks. Right. It's not going to get the attention of hiring teams. It's a great accomplishment. It's great that you achieved it. Great that you posted about it. I want you to continue doing that. But let's add an additional component to it. And that additional component, folks, is sharing your key takeaways from the certification, what you learned, your key takeaways, maybe some challenges you experienced when you were, going through with the certification, new things you learned. Like those are the things that are going to be valuable to the hiring managers and hiring teams that are going to come across your post, because that's what they're going to be looking for. Because otherwise, I mean, if you're not communicating what exactly this certification has done to enhance your skill set, enhance your ability to solve certain problems, enhance your ability to apply certain things. If you're not communicating that in your post, it's not going to really mean much to hiring managers and hiring teams who are already skeptical about the value of certain certifications, because in their experience, when they're interviewing people, they're simply not seeing that practical knowledge and that ability to apply what they've learned from the conversations they've had with candidates. So it's extremely important in your post when you're announcing, hey, I completed this certification. What I want all of you folks to do is I want you to share your key takeaways from the certification. Right now, this does not mean you want to disclose every single thing you learned on the certification. I'm not saying that. You don't want to give away, certain things that obviously will affect your credibility or anything like that. But you want to put that value add in your post. You want to mention what exactly you learned, what exactly were the practical takeaways, what exactly are you going to now do with this newfound knowledge that you learned from your certifications. Because ultimately, folks, that's what the hiring team is going to be looking for. Hiring teams are not looking to pay you for the completion of a certification. They're not looking to invest in you simply because you completed a certification. That's just a check mark, folks. That's just a check mark. What they're willing to invest, why they're willing to set aside time to meet with you, why they feel compelled to get in communication with you, is because when you have this demonstrated that yes, I got this certification, this is what I've learned, this is what I can potentially apply, these were my key takeaways. Now that's gonna be more compelling, folks. That's gonna capture their attention, because now you're not just some person out of 20, 30 other posts they've seen today who've completed some certification, an AWS certification, a Microsoft Azure certification, or Java certification, or PMP, or the IIBA certification, or whatever certification it is that you're going after, right? So this is where you got to go above and beyond and really discuss and lay out what your key takeaways were in your post. So I don't want you just posting, hey, I completed this certification. I want you to post, hey, I just completed this certification. And I want you to share your key takeaways. Now, my recommendation, don't write a whole, thesis kind of a statement in your post. You want to keep it concise, to the point, and you want to share those key takeaways, right? So my suggestion, share your maybe 3 or 4 key takeaways from the certification, folks, right? You want to share 3 or 4 key takeaways. Now, the other thing you want to do is you might even want to get it. And if you've been posting for a while, you might have a good hang of how to post stuff and things like that. You might even want to post why you took this certification in the first place, right? Because keep in mind, when a hiring manager is looking over your post, this is a great opportunity for you to explain what your motivations were for taking this course or this program or this certification. So listing out, hey, I took this certification because I wanted to enhance my knowledge of XYZ. My key takeaways from this certification, having gone through the program, is, A, B, and C. And finally, you can wrap up this post by saying, based on what I've learned and what I wanted to accomplish, I definitely feel like, I got what I wanted to out of this certification. I highly recommend this certification to anyone else. And what I'm going to do now with this newfound knowledge is it'll allow me to do XYZ, right? In such and such types of projects, or whatever your field or your domain, your expertise is. Now, what does that information relate to the hiring manager? First of all, it lets them know that, hey, this sounds like someone that knows what they want to do in their career, because you identified that you needed to enhance certain skills or enhance certain knowledge in your field, which you put in the post, right? So they know that right off the bat. What's the next thing this communicates is, hey, this person looks like they definitely got some takeaways from this certification, and it's possible that they might be able to actually bring this knowledge and maybe apply this at our organization or for our project, right? And then the final part is more so again to appeal to the hiring teams, right? Because you're explaining how you can potentially apply your newfound knowledge to certain projects or to certain types of, I don't know, applications or whatever your personal situation is, right? In regards to the certification. And again, that's going to communicate to the hiring manager, hey, okay, so they took this course because of whatever reason. These are their takeaways, right? Sounds like they understand the stuff. And this is how they're going to apply it potentially at some kind of a project or an organization that they're looking to get into, right? So what is more valuable, folks? Let me know in the comments. Is it more valuable for you to simply post about, hey, I completed a certification? Or is it more valuable? Does it convey more value? Does it more so do a better job in conveying compelling information about yourself, your value, what you bring to the table as a candidate when you post it in the way that I just described? Let me know in the comments, right, if it makes sense. Got a few more comments here. We got Elham in the house. Elham, nice to see you here. Always good to see you here. We got Michael. Michael says, hi, Dean. I'm a data business analyst. Always enjoying your sessions. Well done. Thanks so much, Michael. Great to see you here and appreciate the feedback. So this is how you need to be posting about your certifications, folks, in a way that's compelling, that gets attention, that makes you stand out, and makes your post about your certification seem not like just some other post about somebody completing a certification. You're conveying value. You're showing why your profile stands out. You're showing what you've learned. You're showing how you can apply what you've learned. So your post, when you're posting about your certifications, this is what I want you to do. Do not leave it at simply saying, I completed this certification. Now, another byproduct of this is that this is how you're going to further add value to your network, right? Because look, folks, a lot of the times, not everyone's, maybe there's someone in your network that might be considering this certification, right? Maybe there's someone who currently might not have the money, or maybe they're really tight on their budget. They're not sure whether or not they should spend money on this certification. Hey, guess what? Your post just helped them make a decision, probably, right? So think about it as a way to add value to your network as well, folks. So it's not just about, hey, I completed this certification, everyone congratulate me, everyone support me, blah, blah, blah. Not that that's your attitude, but hopefully you see what I'm saying, right? But more so, what you're doing is you're actually adding value to your network as well, and your networks and your connections will they'll more so appreciate this post when you post it like this. Because why? Because you've shared why you decided to take this certification. You explained what your key takeaways were. You explained what you'll be able to leave this certification with in terms of things you can actually apply, right, in regards to this knowledge, this experience, or the whatever projects are relevant to this kind of certification. And you're showing the pretty much the value of taking this certification, right? So aside from hiring managers and hiring teams, yes, absolutely, that's going to get their attention. But aside from that, folks, you're being someone so much more valuable to your network, because you shared those key takeaways. You shared what you learned. You shared maybe some of the challenges you faced when you were taking this program. You shared your network might potentially be able to come away with if they were to take the certification as well. So posting about your certifications in this manner, folks, right, where you're really explaining what you learned, the key takeaways, maybe the challenges. If there's a practical component, maybe you can even chat a little bit about the practical components of the certification. And finally, you want to end it off by explaining what you're going to be able to apply now, given the fact that you completed the certification. This is going to accomplish two things, folks, right? If at a minimum, it's going to accomplish two things. Number one, it's going to get the attention of hiring managers and hiring teams, because you're actually sharing what you've learned, and you're sharing that practical knowledge that you will now be able to apply, right? Remember, going back to what I mentioned before, based on my experience working in recruitment, many hiring teams don't really, they take these certifications with a grain of salt a lot of times, right? With some exception, of course. Some roles you have to have certain certifications, right? But what I'm saying is overall, hiring managers sometimes don't, a lot of times don't put too much weight, because the greatest challenge they face at their interviews is, hey, this person doesn't really, they've done the certification, but can they apply what they've learned? That's the biggest concern. So you doing this post right up front alleviates that concern, because you're demonstrating your knowledge, at least some of that knowledge, right? You're showing what you've learned, what you accomplished, what you've learned, what you can apply, the takeaways, all of that stuff, and also the stuff that you can apply. So this is why when you post in this manner, it's going to grab the attention of hiring teams much more effectively and efficiently, whereas you simply posting, hey, I completed this certification, right? And the second thing that this accomplishes is, hey, people in your network are really, really going to appreciate it, folks, right? Because these certifications, like some of these certifications it's not a walk in the park, like in terms of the financial investment, right? Some of them could be a couple $100, depending on what part of the world you're in, whatever your currency is in. These could be pretty expensive certifications, right? So you'd be doing a great service to your network by informing them of what you learned, what your takeaways were, and whether you feel that the certification was worth it in the first place, right? So you'd be being a huge help to your network. So make sure that you're doing that. If obviously you're going to attract the attention of hiring teams, but it's going to be a huge help and a huge value to your network as well, folks. And guess what? People in your network are going to start seeing you as someone what's the term? Trustworthy, credible, and someone that's sharing great information with them who are part of your network. So these are very important things for you to remember, folks, when you're posting about these. All right. So the main takeaway I wanted all of you folks to understand from today's session is, don't just post about your accomplishment. It's great that you completed certification. That's good. And you're definitely going to get support from your network. You're going to get people liking it and congratulating you and all that stuff. But let's take it up a notch, folks. All right. Let's take it up a notch. Let's stand out. And how can you stand out? Well, do what most people are not doing when they're announcing their certifications on LinkedIn. Talk about why you took the certification, what you were hoping to accomplish, what were your key challenges, or what are the key things you learned during the certification? What were your key takeaways? And finally, what are you going to be able to take away from the certification and really apply to the real world? That's what you need to be, make sure that you're doing when you're posting about these certifications that are going to, again, it's going to demonstrate more value to the hiring team, right? It's going to capture the attention of the hiring teams, because no one else is really taking the time to, really showcase the value of these certifications in this way. So it's going to capture the attention of hiring teams. Your post is going to look unique. It's going to stand out. And secondly, it's a value add to your network. It's a value add to people connected to you. And a lot of people are going to really appreciate it, right? Because you're going to be sharing information as to whether they themselves should or should not take this certification as well. So it's a way for you to also give back to your network, right? Because look, folks, we're all in this together. Everyone at some point is going to be upgrading their skill set, enhancing their skill set, improving their knowledge. Everyone's going to be job searching. Everyone's going to be looking for opportunities. So this is a great way for those of you who have not started posting stuff on LinkedIn. This is a great practice, right? For you to start posting something of value to your network, right? Now, maybe some of you have already posted about your certifications and you're like, Dean, I already posted. I can't do this again. Hey, that's fine. Folks, go back and post about your previous certifications. Completely fine to do that, right? So let's say you have like 4 certifications, right? And you didn't post about it in this manner that I'm suggesting in today's live stream. So that's like 4 posts for you this week, folks, right there. Monday, you can post about one of those certifications in this manner. Tuesday, you can talk about another one. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, right? Like you pretty much have your whole week mapped out in terms of what you can post about on LinkedIn, right? And every day you can talk about, hey, I took this certification some time ago because, you didn't announce it in the way that I'm suggesting, in the past. So you can always talk about it again, folks, right? I mean, there's no restriction in terms of, hey, I already posted about it, I can't post about it again. No, feel free to do it again, folks. Share that value, grab the attention of hiring teams, and show that you're not just some person that simply completed a certification. You're someone that invested in your career, wanted to acquire new knowledge or enhance your knowledge, acquired that new knowledge, and now you're someone who's able to apply it. That's what you need to communicate in your post, folks, for these, when you completed your certification and you're looking to post about it on LinkedIn. All right. So keep this in mind. Hope this information was helpful. Mahesh says it definitely makes sense. Well said. Awesome. Thanks so much, Mahesh. Glad this information was helpful. So we got some questions here. Yeah. So folks, feel free to put your questions in the comments. I'm going to get into the questions shortly. So I'll give a couple of minutes for those of you folks who have any questions related to what I spoke about today with regards to certifications, or in regards to anything job search or recruitment related. Feel free to put in the comments. I'm happy to get into the questions shortly. All right. We got Maria in the house. Hey, Maria. Happy birthday, by the way. Good to see you here, and hope you're having a wonderful day, Maria. And thanks so much for stopping by. I'll get into the questions shortly. All right. Now, one more thing before I get into the questions, right? And this is in relation to certifications. And if you haven't gotten the hint already, folks, this is going back to what I mentioned before. Hiring managers have a high level of skepticism in regards to whether or not people are doing a good job, explaining how they can apply what they've learned in their certification, right? The practical value of it. So, folks, what I want you to do at your interviews, right? And might be kind of challenging to do this on your resume, but at your interviews, when you are asked about your certifications, when you're asked about, or when you're telling them or letting them know, hey, I just completed this certification. Same principle, folks. Same thing. Do not assume that just because you mentioned, hey, I just completed the AWS certification, that they're going to be impressed. Do not assume that, folks. You need to demonstrate your practical knowledge, your practical takeaways from that certification, right? And this is because of feedback I have received over many years from hiring managers who say, hey, these people, they've taken the certification, but it looks like they don't know how to explain it, or they don't know how to practically apply what they've learned. So knowing this information, folks, I want you to be prepared when you're talking about your certification at your interviews. When they ask you about your certifications, you need to demonstrate that practical knowledge and experience that you can apply at their organization or for their project, right? Do not simply depend on saying, hey, I got this certification and that's it. Do not leave it at just that. You need to be able to communicate, articulate, and explain what you learned in that certification and how you can apply it and why it's relevant to their organization and how you can help them out with their project, right? So the point here, folks, whether it's we're talking about interviews or whether we're talking about posting about certifications on your LinkedIn, the point here, folks, is do not simply announce the fact that you have a certification. Go above and beyond. You got to show that what you learned, what your takeaways were, what you were able to accomplish on that, what knowledge you gained from the certification or the course, and now how you're going to apply it and what this is going to allow you to apply in a future position or in a current position or in a current project you're working on or future projects that you're working on. That is the key, folks. All right. So always remember this: hiring managers, hiring teams, and this is based on my experience working in recruitment. Very, very, very much looking for people who can show the practical value of their certifications. All right. So always keep this in mind for your interviews. Always keep this in mind when you're posting about this stuff on LinkedIn as well. All right. So hope everybody got great information about this. So quickly review this, and I'm going to get into any job search questions you folks had. So make sure you're putting your job search questions right now in the comments so I can get to any questions you have. If not, I'm going to wrap up this session. All right. So quick summary of today. All right. So you completed your certification, you completed your course. What's the next step, right? Well, you definitely want to update your resume. You definitely want to post about it on LinkedIn, but do not simply post about it, folks. Let's go a step above, right? Let's do a step ahead, a step above from what everyone else is doing. You want to share why you took the certification so this is in your post when you're posting about your certification completion on LinkedIn or your course completion on LinkedIn. You're going to write why you took the course, why you decided to take the certification in the first place, what you are hoping to take away from the course or the certification, what you actually learned on the course or on the certification, any key challenges or any interesting areas of knowledge you discovered while on the certification. What's next? What were your key takeaways after completing the certification? What do you feel you learned that will have practical applicability for your career from this point onwards, right? How are you going to apply this now? Or what knowledge or what skills have you learned which you will now be able to apply for current projects or future employers or whatever types of projects you're aiming for? You need to be able to mention this on your post, folks, right? So all of this information that you're going to be sharing on your post, it's going to be of value. It's going to stand out to hiring managers. It's going to stand out to hiring teams. It's going to get you more engagement also from your network because you're sharing such great information, and you're sharing information that's going to help your network decide on, hey, should I myself be going for this certification as well? Or maybe they're going to share their own thoughts, and that's going to get you more engagement. Which is ultimately going to get you more views on your post, right? More people are going to see it because the more people comment on it and thank you for sharing your feedback on this certification, the more interaction you're going to get from your network. More interaction means more visibility for the post, more likes, more comments, and it's going to spread much further out, right? So always think about this, folks. And actually, not just in regards to certifications, but anytime you're posting something on LinkedIn, always think about, hey, what value am I really sharing from this post, right? Because the more possibility that you're sharing something of value, the more chances other people are going to engage with it. Other people are going to like it, comment on it, and might even capture the attention of people that might be looking for someone such as yourself, right? So anyway, the key takeaway here is I want you communicating your value by doing putting a bit more detail into your post regarding certifications, right? So that hiring managers, hiring teams, they're going to see your value right away. They're going to see your value and how you can apply your newfound knowledge to their projects or to their organization. And secondly, so that you're adding value, you're helping out your network, you're sharing key information that would be of value to your network, so that they engage with you. They like your post, they engage with you, and in turn gets you more visibility into their networks as well. All right. So hope this information was helpful, folks. And look, most important thing, folks, make sure you apply what I'm talking about here. All right. So again, more detail into these posts. Make sure you post about your certifications. Put more detail. Share more information about your takeaways and all that stuff. So you're demonstrating your value. All right. So hope everyone got great value out of this. I'm going to get into the questions now. So if you have any questions, folks, make sure you put in the comments. And as promised, I did want to share with all of you folks a free gift for those of you who might not have gotten it already. I have a free sample script on how to run recruiters through your resume the right way. And this is based on my experience working in recruitment as a recruiter in the staffing industry. Recruiters are not as technical as you might be in terms of the knowledge that they have about your field, folks. So you need to make sure that when you're running recruiters through your resume on the phone or on a Zoom call, you need to do it in a manner that's very structured, easy to follow, so that the recruiter is staying on track and they're not getting lost, and you're not throwing a whole bunch of jargon and technology and tools and all that exciting stuff, right? So you can grab my free sample script. It's on my website. It's at www.dkglobaltalent.com. Free download. Make sure you check it out if you haven't gotten it already, and make sure you grab that. It's a great resource for those of you, and make sure you apply it in your conversations with recruiters when they're asking you, hey, can you run me through your resume, or can you run me through XYZ position, or whatever the case is. This is the methodology you need to be utilizing when you're running recruiters through your resume, folks. All right, so make sure you grab a copy of that. Also, a heads up, make sure you sign up for my free job search strategies newsletter. So I release a new strategy every Monday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time zone. So all of you folks are ready to kickstart the week with a new strategy. And also in between the week, of course, I do send out, other emails as well, just to give everyone a heads up in regards to live streams, special guests that I'm interviewing, events that I'm speaking at and stuff like that. So it's a great newsletter for those of you who are actively job seeking or even passively job seeking, right? So make sure you subscribe to that. That's at my website, www.dkglobaltalent.com/newsletter. All right. So make sure you sign up for that. So let's get into the questions, folks. Anyone who has any questions, make sure that you're putting it in the comments. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. All right. So let's see what else we have here. All right. So Nandini. So Nandini, shout out to Nandini. Thanks so much for tuning in, Nandini, and great to have you here. So Nandini says, "Hi Dean, I want to become a junior front-end developer before landing a junior front-end developer job. Internship or volunteer experience is important to get junior front-end developer job." All right, so Nandini, first and foremost, great question. Now, first and foremost, Nandini, I definitely want you to reach out to and get some mentorship from developers who have been in the game for a while, right? So maybe intermediate developers or senior developers. You need to be networking with them, Nandini, to really get their take on this, because they'll probably be able to provide you with more specific advice, because everyone's been in your shoes, right? Where they were trying to start their career in front-end development. So you definitely want to see if you can get some mentorship from someone in the industry who's now at an intermediate level or senior level, but who has been in your shoes in the past. You want to get that mentorship. So you need to maybe reach out to some people on LinkedIn or find people on LinkedIn you can connect with and get that advice, right? Now, that being said, I'm going to provide my viewpoint from the standpoint of a recruiter, right? So my advice to you, Nandini, yeah, absolutely. Internship or volunteer opportunities can definitely help, because you want to show your ability to perform certain things as a junior front-end developer, right? A junior front-end developer or junior developer. I think you said front-end developer. Yeah. So you want to be able to showcase your abilities, right? Because ultimately, Nandini, the organization, what they're looking for is they're looking to invest in someone with a certain skill set to come in and work on something and produce some kind of an outcome or a result, right? This goes to anyone, by the way, folks. This goes to any job opportunity out there, right? Always remember this. Organizations are not just throwing money left and right out there for no reason. They're looking to bring someone in with a certain skill set who's able to perform a certain set of tasks and produce some kind of an outcome or end result, and ultimately some kind of an ROI or return on investment. So this is why, Nandini, you need to be able to show that you have this skill set that they're looking for. So definitely internships, volunteer opportunities, co-ops, those are always good. And if nothing else, Nandini, you need to start developing your own portfolio right now, because you're a front-end developer. Start I'm not sure if you have your own portfolio already you've been developing, Nandini, but you definitely want to create your own samples of work that you can show, right? Because even if you have trouble getting an internship or a volunteer position, at least you have your own work that you can showcase and you can run them through, and you can say, hey, this is a sample of my work. This is what I can do, right? I think GitHub is definitely one of those popular platforms where you can actually post your work publicly. And you should definitely include that GitHub link on your resume as well as on your LinkedIn profile as well, Nandini. All right. So hope that information helps. And also, Nandini, so I recently had a guest on my show. It was I can't remember her name, unfortunately. My apologies, but she was the director of operations at an organization called mintbean.io. So they organize hackathons, and hackathons are a great way for you to get involved and put your coding skills to practice and showcase to employers that, hey, I participated in such events, and I'm able, this is why I'm able to, be a proficient junior developer. And they also have an apprenticeship program as well, Nandini. So check them out. It's mintbean.io, right? Check them out for more information. And also make use of building your own portfolio, like I said. All right. So hope that helps, Nandini. And a great question there. So we got Lucky says, hi, Dean, I'm looking for opportunities in software testing domain. I had 4.5 years of work experience in same work. Awesome, Lucky. Hope wish you the best in that search for employment. And thanks so much for tuning in. Agender says, this is really helpful. Awesome. Appreciate that feedback, Agender. Glad to hear it was helpful. Adesina says, you have shared a great insight. Thank you very much. Hey, no worries, Adesina. Hope it was helpful. Maria says, Dean, I joined in late, so missed the beginning. What are your thoughts on sharing Udemy certificates? Should we or shouldn't we share on LinkedIn? Yeah, Maria, I would say you definitely want to share that, right? You definitely want to share any investment you make in your knowledge, right? In your knowledge, enhancing your knowledge, learning new skills, taking your skill set to the next level. These are definitely things you want to share, folks, right? So great question here, Maria. You definitely want to do that. You definitely want to update that. But there's a way you need to be doing that, Maria. So go over my session again, right? Watch the replay if you're still here, Maria. Watch the replay, because I want you to post it in such a way that it captures the attention of hiring managers and hiring teams, and also it adds value to your network as well. So watch the replay, Maria, because I want you to follow the methodology I covered in today's session. All right. But great question, and thanks for asking that. Lisa says, great. Hey, thanks, Lisa. I appreciate that. Gabriela, hey, Gabriela, nice to see you here. Hope you're doing great. Gabriela says, hi, Dean. How important is it to include a cover letter when applying for a job? Any specific structure? I have also noticed sometimes they ask to include additional docs. So aside from the resume and CV, is there anything else you recommend? All right. So this is a great question, Gabriela, right? And I've actually been, kind of thinking about the whole concept of cover letters recently. Now, are there people out there that would actually take the time to read over a cover letter? Yes, there would be. My opinion, folks, and this is my experience working in recruitment, right? Working in recruitment and interacting with hiring managers at various companies. Most people do not have the time to read over cover letters, folks. For the most part, I mean, myself as a recruiter, when I have received cover letters from candidates, I mean, I can say, almost all the time, I don't even look at the cover letter. I go straight to the resume. I determine if the person has the right skills, and then I give a phone call, right? Because that's the quickest way to get in touch with the right people. So cover letters, in my opinion, Gabriela, I think it's like a dying thing. There are people out there that do value cover letters. There are people out there that do, actually take the time to read over cover letters. But that's usually when it's filtered through higher up the organization, right? When it's gone through the recruiting team, gone through the line managers, gone through the senior managers and VPs, directors, it reaches the C level, or like the senior executives. I find for the most part it's the senior executives that actually take the time to read over the cover letter, right? So if you know for a fact that your resume is going to be reviewed by a senior executive, that's probably the time when I would recommend, maybe do a cover letter. But for the most part, I think it's a dying document. I don't think I think cover letters are not really a lot of people do not take the time to read over cover letters. I think it's something that's eventually going to be phased out and seen as archaic. That being said, there are organizations that do value them, and for the most part, Gabriela, if it's an organization that requests a cover letter, you definitely want to make sure you put in a cover letter, right? So in terms of the structure, like, I can't say that I'm an expert in the cover letter aspect of things, Gabriela, and there are a lot of resources out there to help you with it. But cover letters are great for you explaining, who you are, what you bring to the table, and your understanding of what the organization that you're applying to, what their situation is in terms of what projects they have going on, and connecting that to what you bring to the table, and also giving a brief overview of your career path in that letter. But again, the focus should be on the organization, not simply on yourself, because remember, people have very short attention spans these days, right? And you want to get their attention as soon as possible, and you want to keep their attention as well. So if you are doing a cover letter, Gabriela, and anyone else out there, make sure you're making it about the company, about the organization. And if you are mentioning yourself, it's because you're tying in their project or their industry or their organization with your skills and your experience. If you don't do that, they're going to skip over the cover letter, or they're going to zone out. They're not even going to read it. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you're doing it in a way that connects your skills and who you are with them, their problem, and their projects. All right. So I hope that helps, Gabriela. Now, in terms of the second part of your question, you said include any other additional docs. So aside from the resume and CV, is there anything else you could recommend? Yeah. So any other docs would probably be certifications you've completed, right? Courses you've completed, certifications you've completed. As long as those courses and certifications are from credible and recognized organizations, especially, those are some additional documents you can include as well. You could also include maybe feedback from previous or testimonials from previous managers or clients, if you do have such, you have kept and saved such documents. That's also effective as well, right? Because it shows your value. It shows feedback from actual people that have provided feedback in terms of your work and all that stuff. Now, if you are doing that, however, Gabriela and everyone else, make sure you get permission from these individuals, because some people, when they write their reference letters, they put in their personal information, right? Phone number, email, address, and stuff like that. So you don't want to circulate that out publicly, right? So always ask permission, and if it's okay, if you're going to be attaching those documents to some job application and stuff like that, make sure you have a conversation with your referrals and those people who wrote those recommendation letters or those testimonials to make sure they're okay with that, or omit or take out or omit their personal information and simply leave it at their name and maybe their email address. Like that should be fine. But always get permission. All right. So hope that helps, Gabriela. Great question, and thanks so much for tuning in. Nandini says, yes, I have my own portfolio. Awesome. Fantastic, Nandini. Make use of that. And thanks, Dean. Very helpful. Yeah, no worries, Nandini. So, folks, look, this might not be applicable to your field or your skill set, right? But if at all possible, always develop your own portfolio, which you can show to hiring teams and over Zoom calls or even on phone calls that you can explain. Maybe over phone call might be difficult, but at least on the Zoom call, right? But always see if you can develop your own portfolio. It's always good to show, right? Because showing is always more powerful than telling, right? If you're taking notes, you want to write that down. Showing is more powerful than telling. Me saying, yeah, I can do XYZ, that's one thing, right? But then me saying, yeah, I can do XYZ. And by the way, here's an example of what I have done with XYZ. What's more powerful, folks, right? So always, as much as possible, and again, this could be depending on your skill set and your field, always see if you can develop your own portfolio, which you can actually showcase and demonstrate to the hiring team, all right? So good stuff there, Nandini, and thanks so much for tuning in. So we got a comment here. So shout out to whoever wrote this. I'm not sure who it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't put the name. But hi, Dean, very insightful as always. I just completed a couple of certification, and I'm so happy I tuned in today. Thank you so very much. Definitely sharing with other people who completed certifications in my batch. Awesome. Thanks so much. And really happy to hear you found this session insightful. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the name, but shout out to anyone, to whoever this was who tuned in, and glad to hear that my timing was perfect. So yeah, put it into action, folks. Put it into action. All right. Gabriela says, makes sense. Thank you. Hey, no worries, Gabriela. And Maria says, okay, I will. Thanks to hey. Okay, sounds good, Maria. Awesome. So folks, looks like that's all the questions. So I'm gonna wrap up this session. Hope everyone got great information out of it. Main takeaway, folks. Hey, folks, I always say this: execution, folks. Put into action what you learn. Execution. I mean, knowledge is one thing, right? And by the way, those of you in IT, most of you tuning in are in IT. You already know this. Knowledge is one thing, but execution and taking action on what you learned, that's a different ballgame. That's where you actually put things into action and things actually happen, right? So if you found today's session valuable, definitely make sure you like, comment, and share, folks. Really appreciate that, so that more people are aware of this and more people start intelligently posting on LinkedIn about their certifications. And again, for those of you tuning in for the first time, thanks so much for tuning in. Every Wednesday, I go live 11 a.m. Eastern time zone on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Unfortunately, Instagram is not working lately. I'm not sure what's happening, but thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. And mark your calendars. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I go live. So make sure you tune in. I'm happy to share these job search tips and advice for all of you to help you out in your job search, right? So everyone have a fantastic week ahead. Keep pushing through. Keep staying positive. And again, take action, folks. Take action, and execution is key, all right? Everyone have a fantastic day. Thanks so much.